Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in again. We're ready to get started with the latest updates for your Google Home or your Google Assistant. So let's get going. You're going to get everything new this week. First thing up on the docket this week is actually a device that hasn't launched yet. It is soon to come. We're hearing reports that the Google Pixel 3 is coming out soon. Now, that's obviously a smartphone, so why are we talking about that in relation to Google Home or the Google Assistant? Well, the first thing that's been leaked is actually a smart display stand, similar to what we're seeing with the smart displays, intended for the Google Pixel 3. So I think what we're about to see is the Google Pixel 3 turn into a smart display whenever you put it in this stand, similar to an Amazon Echo Show and the smart displays coming out from Google and their partners. Speaking of those smart displays, the first one is finally out on the market. You can pre-order a Lenovo smart display tablet with the Google Assistant on board. You can pre-order the 8 or the 10-inch, and the delivery time is about 3 to 4 weeks. Now, what I'll say about them is they look great to me. It's a bit of a retro look in my opinion. The speaker is on the side of the display itself, and you can kind of see that throwback look. So those are out there. There are $200 for the 8-inch or $250. Those are US prices for the 10-inch, and you have to be in the US to order one today. For the first time in a while, I think you're going to hear a little bit of frustration with me in relation to your Google Home. Now, Google has gone out and released basically scheduled routines, and so this feature is available in the US if you already have routines. Now, the frustration piece is nobody else in the world right now has routines. There's been little spots, little pockets of people who've managed to get these on their devices, but I've done everything I can and I still don't have the base routine. So a little bit frustrating for me, and I'm sure for the rest of you around the world outside of the US, but if you're in the US, you can now schedule your routines to trigger. This is very similar to things like Samsung SmartThings and of course the Amazon Echo series. So there you go. If you're in the US, you're good to go. This is a bit of a nuanced change from Google. On the Google Home, if you're asking it to turn off all the lights and you just say turn off the lights, then now Google will actually recognize what room it's in and compare that to the devices that are in the room or the other lights in the room and just turn those off. In the past, had you asked Google to turn off the lights, you would have turned them all off in your entire home. So now there's a bit of a change in how you execute that, or the words you use to execute that. As we've seen in the past, Google has gone ahead and added more languages. They're still focusing on that international component of their Google Assistant and the Google Home device. But what's been announced this week is actually full support for the Dutch language, and we're seeing the introduction of the Russian language at this point. Not yet a full support situation for Russian, but there we go, they're moving in that direction. This is something I mentioned in our last week's home automation or new smart home products video. Philips Hue has put out a huge series of bathroom products. They're called the Adora series, and the Adora series already has, through Philips Hue and the Philips Hue application, connection to your Google Assistant and your Google Home device. So the Adora series includes a mirror and with LEDs on it, so that's a smart mirror that you can go ahead and use. There's also spotlights and other lights that you can use in your bathroom. So that series immediately has functionality with the Google Assistant and your Google Home. For those of you that make Google Duo phone calls, you can now do that through your Google Assistant. And so you can trigger the functionality on your phone using the Google Assistant, and it will move over to Google Duo and phone your friend. So we're seeing that creation of a little bit of a community through the Google Duo service, and we don't know how long that'll go for, but ultimately we can see that creation of a community and the ability to make video phone calls coming together. A few business related items here. The first is, if you didn't notice, the Nest CEO had actually stepped down, and so what's happening today is Nest is being fully integrated into Google's hardware team and the home team. So I think what we're going to see is even better, further and deeper integration between Google Home and the Nest line of products. We've already seen some, and it is pretty good integration, but I think with those teams working together directly, we're going to see that next level of integration. The last thing I'm going to talk to you about this week is related to some tests that are done every so often by a number of companies that test the accuracy of all the voice assistants. Now, Google Assistant has managed to maintain their lead and continue to get better and better in terms of how they answer queries that are coming from customers or clients. So the Google Assistant has maintained its lead at about 85% correctly answering the queries. And so in this test, there were 800 different questions asked of all of the voice assistants, and the Google Assistant understood 100% of the queries, but it could only answer 85% of the queries correctly. All right, everyone, that's what I have this week to speak to you about the Google Home and the Google Assistant. Now, I want to remind you there is a giveaway on the channel for both a Google Home, a full-size standard Google Home, as well as a charcoal mini version. So I'm going to leave the link down below to Gleam where you can go ahead and enter into that giveaway. Thanks again, everyone, for watching. We'll see you next time.